All right, this is the SPX, and until we get past this midpoint of 1950, I'm not looking to get bearish. I said that on the video last week, just because it's the midpoint of this previous range, and I'm not going to look to do that. So right here, right now, I mean, it's closed strong in the day. Again, some people say how high it can go. That's not, I don't think that's a game you should play. I mean, it could definitely get to this 2120 level, and I'll go from there. But again, until you have a 50% retrace, if we looked at the weekly, we kind of said that it strategically stopped at a point that, not the SPX, but I think the Dow. Yes, so it stopped right below, or it didn't break two lows back. So it broke one, but it didn't break two. So again, it continued up. I would be, cautious. I did take some longs because I don't know if it. Again, I don't deal with that Santa Claus crap. But the trend was still up, no matter if it's Santa Claus rally or not, because some people might say, oh, it has to go like that. And a lot of dips might be bought because the institutional guys have to make sure that they beat the S&P for the year. But we'll kind of just take it from there. So we'll see how it plays out. But again, we have that. If you're looking at the Dow Jones continued. Again, it's up huge, a 421 day. And we just have to see where it's going to go. A lot of people probably didn't take the long because they were saying, how high can it go? Don't play that game. Breaks above this highs, your stops below here. We still have the same type of midpoint that we're looking at right here. It's above it. You stay with the trend. The trend is definitely up. You look at the weekly. Again, it's layering above these highs. If it continues high, it breaks out these highs, and we'll see how high it can go. Let's look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is up about 102 points. So we see that it continues, again, layering above these highs. And we can see we could definitely come and take out these areas looking at the weekly aspect. If we're looking at the daily, we got the gap and go. And don't worry about these gaps because, again, you would say you would be going short looking at this gap to get filled, right? Well, guess what? It might get filled, but it might be 2 years, a year, 6 months, 1 month. You don't have time to do that. Go with the trend. Again, we do the same type of thing. Very simple retracement stuff I'm talking here. 50% retracement hasn't even got there. Don't look at going extremely bearish. Now, there was some names. Again, I look at the IWM, again, for the daily for that. And it continued. Again, I was looking more for it to break down, break up and break down if I was looking to go short, and it didn't do that. Yesterday, it broke above these highs, and now it's above, testing these previous highs before. So, again, my negative view towards it is negated. So again, you look again, and this is why I'm not too overly you got 50% retrace it didn't even get to, so we just got to be cautious if we don't get to that level. Okay, some individual names. Again, I picked up some Walmart today. That one's closed strong. I picked up some Intel. I was actually going to pick up some Apple, but I didn't get any today, but that one looks good as well. Layering again. Nice swing. You also had Tesla. Tesla to me is still not out the woods. Again, I'm just going to use a very simple way. I'm going to delete this real quick. Yes, so it's very, very simple to just say, listen, it needs to get above 50% of this range. It hasn't got, if it gets above 225, I will start looking at it potentially for the long. But even if it's for the long aspect, you still got to say, okay, what's going on? You got some lower highs in place, 1, 2, 3. If you get one lower here, it could continue to the downside, and it could be very fast actually. So we still have to make sure that we look at the overall picture. We can't just look at a couple. You have to look at the data and say, okay, where are we going? I mean, again, you have this line of sand that it came to previous highs and it broke above, but this immediate action, talking about a couple months, 3 months back, is not a bullish sign at all. So if it finds some sputtering, it needs to get above 225 for me at least to start looking at stuff. And this is how I got that number. Okay, 225, 226. It needs to get that at least before I start looking at Tesla for the long side. As good as the market was, GoPro did not participate at all. It has broken down. Remember, I said a short around here, and it would have still been paying well. We'll see if it breaks down below, but again, it could definitely touch this 50. I mean, 50 if anything. I mean, it could definitely come down here and touch this 37 as well. I'm not going to pick a bottom at all, and I suggest that you don't do that as well. You have Microsoft. It ripped off the side. So again, this very simple technique of trying to look at what the 50% retracement is can kind of help. and you could say, okay, it broke below, you know, and it regained it. So then what happens? But again, until you get to this point, so let's say you get to this point and it fails and comes back down, that's when you can kind of say, okay, something is fully bearish. But I wouldn't do that right here, right now. Netflix, it continues to look weak. I'm not going to buy it right here. I mean, it still needs to hold this level right here. So this 320, it breaks that again. I mean, it can continue to go to the downside. So I would be very, very cautious regarding that. You got a USO oil is continuing its run to the downside. I mean, don't try to pick a bottom at all, because look, I mean, I would definitely be very, very cautious on trying to pick any type of bottoms for the oil market, because I think that you will just receive a lot more pain than you want to. Facebook actually made some type of movement today. It hasn't had this type of movement in a long time. And I think that once it got above this area, which is the last volume spike, yes, this was, what was the last volume spike? Around here, yeah. So once it got above this area, or once it starts, it's just been churning for such a long time. But this was, you know, this is a lot of volume. So this could be support. So let's see if we could continue, because this is not a pattern. So I'm going to keep this one short, stop at Facebook. But again, don't buck the trend. No matter how bearish you are, if the chart says that the trend is up, go for it. So maybe that midpoint thing could probably help you out to kind of be a little bit decisive regarding it. Take care.